All right, so you want to buy a house in 2023, you're not sure where to start. Well, hey guys, you're in the right place because we're going to take you through a step-by-step journey on everything you know on how to prepare, how to buy a home in 2023. Welcome back, guys. Here's part 3 of our step-by-step adventure on how to buy a home in 2023. Guys, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and go ahead and ring that bell so you can be notified every single time we come out with some new information for you that'll be helpful for you to watch. So guys, we're continuing now on part 3, and we've literally used these step-by-step processes to help thousands of families over the years properly prepare on how to buy their first home. So if you've watched the other 2 parts, this is part number 3, and we're going to get right into it. So now we're on to step number 11, and what is called your initial closing disclosure, or CD for short. No, it's not a compact disc. It just stands for CD, which is short for closing disclosure. Now, your initial closing disclosure, guys, this is where things start to get serious. We're getting really super close to the end and finalizing you on your home purchase. So on your initial closing disclosure, so a few things need to happen for us to be able to get your initial closing disclosure out. 1, we have to have already gone to underwriting and received at least our initial loan approval, meaning the underwriters reviewed the file, given us a loan approval on what's needed for it, and we've also received your appraisal back on the property so we know how much the home is worth and what the value of it is. So your initial closing disclosure can cause some confusion, and a lot of times people seem to get excited about this. And this is one of the reasons why we really like to utilize videos in our process, because we can be proactive with this. So your initial closing disclosure is exactly that. It's just your initial closing disclosure. It's not going to be finalized with any numbers yet. It's typically padded a little bit. They may or may not have your earnest money in there. It basically just allows us to start the process to go into the final phase, which is going to get your final loan approval. So your initial closing disclosure, basically what it is it's a government form that's going to show all of your financing terms, what your interest rate is, what type of loan you're doing, whether it's a 30-year fixed, a 15-year fixed, an adjustable rate mortgage, or an ARM, what type of loan it is. Is it an FHA loan? Is it a conventional? Is it a VA loan? Etc., etc. Your initial closing disclosure is also going to break down what your payment is, your principal, interest, estimated taxes, and insurance as well. If you have mortgage insurance on that particular loan, it's going to show you that as well. The remaining pages, they're going to itemize all the other closing costs. So title and escrow fees. Is there any third-party fees, such as appraisal or any type of inspections, anything like that that might be in there? They're going to be itemized on those remaining pages for you. And I get asked all the time, well, Aaron, why don't they just wait to do this? Well, that's a great question. The government wants us to make sure that everything's exactly the same on how we originally did the loan for you. Years ago, believe it or not, it was not uncommon, unfortunately, that people would get to closing and their terms were completely different than they thought that they were getting. So they want to make sure that the terms are matching with what your initial loan disclosures that went out back in step 1 or step 2, whichever one it was. They want to make sure that those match. And your initial closing disclosure, guys, it's just that. What it does is it starts the clock on when we can legally finalize your loan, have you sign your loan, get loan documents out, and have your loan funded and closed. So it's super, super, super important. As soon as you get that initial loan disclosure, you have to e-sign. I can't tell you how many times we get an initial loan disclosure out and people are on Friday going, okay, cool, I'll look at it Monday morning and get it signed. No, you need to sign it right away because we want to start that clock ticking, especially if you're getting tight on time towards the end. A lot of times we need that signed right away, so don't wait. Make sure you sign it right away. And remember, you're under contract, so you want to make sure that you're staying on those timelines that we set up for you before. So let's take a look at an example. So let's say you're closing on a Thursday and your initial closing disclosure comes out on a Monday. So that closing disclosure has to be e-signed by Monday night in order for us to stay on task. So Monday counts, Tuesday counts, Wednesday counts, and then finally on Thursday is when you can actually go in and sign your loan document. And let's look at another example. So example 2, it's very important to understand that Sundays and also holidays do not count, okay? So if your initial loan disclosure comes out on a Friday and you sign it on Friday, that Friday counts, that Saturday counts, that Sunday does not count. count, but Monday does. Or if it's a holiday, it doesn't count. So you want to make sure that you're planning accordingly and not waiting to sign that initial closing disclosure. And remember, the initial closing disclosure, it's just an estimate, you guys. It's just to allow us to start the clock. Like I said before, it's not uncommon that it might be padded, or we might not have things balanced and finalized yet. You might be like, oh my God, I already paid for the appraisal. That's okay. The title company doesn't know that yet because they're still getting finalized things with that. Look at it more of as a permission slip for us to move on to the next step for you. So again, very important. As soon as you get that initial closing disclosure, you want to sign it right away. Step number 12. All right, this is the fun part. We're getting to close on your house now. And we've done all the paperwork. You've went and got us updated bank statements, updated pay stubs, written some letters of explanation, and we've satisfied all the underwriting conditions that are needed. And the underwriter's given us his final stamp of approval and final loan approval, aka clear to close. Yay, this is the fun part. Now, for whatever reason, when we get to this part, people seem to start getting really antsy. I can't tell you how many times we get a clear to close, and 10 minutes later, we're getting phone calls from real estate agents asking where the loan docs are at. Here's how it happens. Now that we've got our final loan approval, our closing department, they're gonna start balancing back and forth with the title company to get your final closing disclosure out. And what that is it's not uncommon. They go back and forth a few times. Hey, was the appraisal already paid? Yes, it was. This inspection was already paid. Hey, we have this credit from the sellers. They go back and forth to make sure they match up and everything's correct on your contract. Once they do that, they then have to prepare the loan documents that they send to the title company, or for our friends in the South, attorneys, that they then have to prepare in order to get you signed. Once they get those loan disclosures out, the title company or the attorney is going to call you, schedule a time to have you come in and sign your final paperwork. Plan on about 45 minutes or so is a good estimate, maybe an hour depending on how much you talk, to sign all your paperwork there at the title or attorney's office to have it done. Once they do that, they're actually going to scan all those documents back to the lender. They have to be reviewed. Once they're reviewed and everything matches up appropriately, they're actually going to fund your loan, meaning they're going to wire the money to the title company or the attorney, and that actually pays the seller. That means you're done on our end. So typically, if you sign early enough in the day, they can have your loan funded the same day. Once it's funded, the title company and or attorney has to send some information to the county, and they record the new deed with you as the new owner on the house. Typically, if it's done early enough when you sign your loan documents, all that can be completed the same day. If not, if it's say afternoon, 3 o'clock when you sign your documents, plan on not being probably mid-morning the next day to noon when you're going to be funded and properly recorded with the county. So biggest question I get asked all the time, Aaron, when is my first payment? So here's how it works. It's kind of like when you moved into an apartment and you move in the middle of the month and they prorate your interest for that in the middle of the month. Same thing. When you're signing your loan documents, they're prorating how many ever days of interest you are when you closed on the loan. So for example, if you're closing on January 15th, they're collecting 16 days, because there's 31 days in January, of prepaid interest. Your first payment is not going to be due until an entire month later. So if you close on January 15th, your first payment's not going to be due until March 1st. So guys, that just about does it for our 3-part series on step-by-step guide on how to buy a home in 2023. Hey, we hope you found this useful. We're always looking to make better videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell, and please like and leave us a comment below so we can help get more information out there to the public. And again, please feel free to comment on any videos you might want to see or any questions you might have about the home buying process. We're here to help. Thanks for watching, guys. Have an awesome day.